camera. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had trying to get my camera right. Come on in. I hope everybody is doing great, having a lovely day. Let's see if we get some people on in the room here, on the live, I should say. So, I'm Shantae Charles. I want to start by saying thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who has subscribed. Hey, thank you to everyone who has watched my videos, who have left comments. I even want to say thank you to the people who have left negative comments. Thank you for watching my video. I appreciate it. And thank you to the ones who left. I have to say, those of you who have left nice comments, encouraging comments, far outweigh the negative comments, which I don't care about the negative comments. It doesn't phase me. It really doesn't matter. But I want to say thank you. I have hit over 100,000 views. I have close to 3,000 subscribers. God is good because I'm a certified life and business coach. I've been certified since I think 2016 or 18. I don't quite remember. But I love to help other people win in life. As a Black woman, I feel like once I made it and I'm doing better, it is my responsibility to help the next woman do better and be better. So I want to thank you. I've been teaching financial education on Facebook and various places for years. Um, just telling people about, I like when you said it was time to leave the struggle bus. Yes, thank you. Um, so I've been teaching financial education for a while. I'm going to start sharing my story, more of my story of how my husband and I were $30,000 in debt, but despite having four children, we were able to get out of debt, how we purchased the home using just his income, even though I have income, and why we decided to do that and what our next plan is. But I wanted to come on and say thank you and let you guys know that I have had a lot of people reach out to me asking me questions about North Dakota. I've had a lot of people reach out to me asking me about North Dakota. So I've decided to put together a Move to North Dakota Summit. It will be on the 22nd of next month. So stay tuned for more information. I just decided that literally less than 5 days ago. I'm going to have my personal assistant help me with putting together a landing page where you can go, you can register. My mom used to have a daycare here. Yes, she did. She had one of the biggest daycares here, but she has since retired. And my mom is going to be speaking at the Move to North Dakota Summit, um, talking about how living here helps her Social Security go further. Because listen, my mother is 60. I can't remember. I have lost track, but my mother is over 60. And my mother came from the generation a lot of where she didn't have a lot of opportunities. One, she was born to a teen mom. My grandmother and my grandfather, they had her very young. And that comes with struggles. Whoever this Xbox gaming is, get a life. Get a life. You don't understand by making these comments, it doesn't even bother me. And by making these comments, it's helping my viewership. It's helping that when I get monetized, it's helping me get money. So thank you very much. But get a life. Get a life. But anyway, my mother's gonna be talking about how retiring here helps her social security go further, because she comes from a generation where she did not have there weren't a lot of options, and you had to work harder to get ahead. She came from the generation where it was you just work, you get a job, you work and you get a job, and they didn't know a lot of they weren't taught a lot of things about how to actually get ahead. So it's not like she has hundreds of thousands of dollars for retirement. So anyway, she's going to be talking about retiring here. Um, there is going to be a black OBGYN who's going to be on the panel. She's going to be talking about what it's like to be black and in healthcare here. Um, there is going to be a hospital administrator. She's going to be talking about how she came here from Chicago. She lived in the city where I am at, and then she moved to a smaller city, and then even a smaller city. Where her and her husband currently live, they are a couple. It's only her husband, and one other black person in that city. And she sits on the community. What did she tell me? She sits on the community board and the board for parks and recreations. And she was thinking of running for mayor. So, yes, it's small. Yes, she's obviously a minority, but life has been good to her in that small town. She hasn't had any racial problems. And she's a hospital administrator, where she's also going to be sharing information about jobs, not just in her little small town, because everybody doesn't want to live in a small place. I probably could not live there because it's just too small. Um, she's gonna be on the panel. Um, my brother, who obviously is a black man, he is going to be on the panel talking about what it's like to raise his son here, who is obviously black because his wife is black. Um, he's going to be on the panel talking about what it's like to be a black man living here and raising his child here, and his child oftentimes being the only black child in sports events and different things. I mean, that's oftentimes the same thing with me and my children, but I wanted to have him on to talk about a different perspective, to have a I'm sorry, I was reading some of the comments, to share a different perspective. I'm going to try to get my husband on the panel to talk about what it's like to work for an oil company here, and how moving here and working for an oil company has helped him financially, which helps us, his family, and things of that nature. Who else? I am trying to get the person who does my hair to be on the panel. She's very reserved and a private person. I'm trying to get her to come on the panel because um her, her and her husband, they moved here from California. She started a business. She's doing extremely well, extremely well here. They have a 10-year-old daughter. Her daughter may be 11 by now. And excuse me. Excuse me. I'm going to have her on the panel. if she I want her to be on the panel to talk about what it's like to be raising her daughter here and how moving here has helped her and her husband. Um, what else is going to be? I'm having a gentleman who is 75 years old. He won't be on the panel, but I'm going to have him he's going to create a pre recorded message. And the reason why he won't be on live on the panel is because it's going to be on the fourth Saturday, and he goes to the assistant living facility. He's also a minister, and he goes to the assistant living facility on the fourth Saturday of every month. So he won't be able to attend live, but we will do a pre-recording that I will play, and he will talk about how North Dakota has been good to him. Everybody in the community knows him. Everybody in the community knows Mr. Mack. And if you get to know him and he likes you and you need something and he tells you to use his name, you're definitely going to get what you need because that he has that kind of pull here in the community. And this move to North Dakota Summit is free to attend. It is free to attend. We're going to share information about housing, about job opportunities. It will have up to date job opportunities. We'll talk about wages.
Hey, mommy.
Yes.
What are you doing?
I'm on a live video.
Oh.
What do you need? Is Nana? Excuse me, you guys. Take her off speakerphone.
Oh. What?
No, I said take her off speakerphone. I'm so sorry. Yes, Mom?
Oh, she said it pick up. Answer.
That's not Nana calling. I am so sorry about that. That was my mother calling. And when I didn't answer her call, she calling. And when I didn't answer her call, she called my son and was like, pick up. So, move to North Dakota Summit. Absolutely free to attend. A black OBGYN will be sharing her experience about being a doctor here. Black health hospital administrator, black man sharing his experience of living here and raising his son here. Um, a community activist, a small business owner besides myself will be there. Hopefully, she will commit and say, okay. I'm not sure what the median income here now. Medium income here is. Minimum wage is still $7.25 because that's just the United States minimum wage. But I can guarantee you this: anybody here who comes here or um, tries to pay somebody minimum wage, they're going to be out of business before they even get started because that's just not flying here. It can't be done. And when I first moved here, McDonald's was paying $15 an hour. Now this was before the pandemic. Nowhere, nowhere. Jobs are plentiful here. The pay is great. And if you are married, and have a couple kids, or maybe you have a significant other, you're not married, that's your business. Not my place to judge. That's between you two. Um, but if your husband, you and your husband's significant other, or even if you're a woman that doesn't mind doing that kind of work, you can come here. You can make a good living. And you don't have to stay here. Some of these comments gotta stop acting like I'm saying come here and you can never leave. I don't plan on being in North Dakota the rest of my life, but I'm here because the money is here. You come here, you make the money, you build a life, you do some investments, and then you move on. You move on. Yes, there is land for sale here. There is land for sale here. Yes, Texas is too competitive to get a job. Exactly. It is not competitive to get a job here. It's not as competitive to get a job here because although the jobs are great paying, there are a lot of people that I'm not going there, it's too cold. I'm not going there, it's too cold. But you're struggling to pay your light bill wherever you're at. Now, okay, so stay there and struggle. Stay there and struggle. But if you're a man and you happen to be watching this and you can come here. You can get a job working for an oil company. Now you are going to work long hours. My husband previously had a job that his schedule was 26 days on, 10 days off. I think it was 10 days off. It might have been 12. I can't remember. But he literally worked 26 days straight, 12 hours a day, and then he would be off 2 weeks. So, and now he works 12 days on, 2 days off. It used to be 11 days on, 3 days off, but they changed it. So you have your base pay, then you automatically have overtime. You have automatically overtime. So if you're a type of guy that you have young children and you want your wife to stay at home, not have to put your kids in daycare or not have to work, this is somewhere you can come and you can afford to do that. And where you don't have to have a college education, because let's just face it, and I'm not knocking college, I really am not, but let's face it, going to college does not guarantee you a good paying job. Going to college is not going to, you may not get a good paying job. Some people have gone to college and they're still struggling to make ends meet. My very best friend that I have known since I was 9 years old is the most educated person I know. She has a PhD. And when she lived in Georgia, she could not get a job. It was just that tough. She could not get a job. So, education, a formal education, does not always equal prosperity and success. When back in 2016, when my husband lost his job and he found another job, but then got laid off, found another job, got laid off, found another job, I did not have 4 years to go back to school and get a degree. We had two children, and what was that commercial? I want my money and I want it now. I was like, okay, what can I do? I took my $12 skill as a CNA, turned it into a six-figure business, started my own non-medical in-home care agency. I didn't have 4 years to wait to work through getting a degree with the hopes of, oh, I can get a job after I get my degree. I didn't have time for that. I wanted to be off of Medicaid and what have you, and I wanted to be off of there as soon as possible. If I was somewhere else, I may not have gotten that opportunity, but I was in the right place, positioning, timing. But if you are a man and you want your wife or your significant other to be able to stay home and raise your children, you can do that here with the right job. You can do that here. If I own my own business, my husband doesn't care if I work or don't work. That's just the type of man he is. And I'm not bragging. I know a lot of people don't have that luxury. But if I do not work or run my own business, even though I'm a business owner, I still consider it work. If I don't work, we're not going to be homeless. We're not going to be on the street. But I run my business, choose to be a business owner and work because, hey, it's better. Two is better than one. If my husband loses his job again, okay, I don't have to worry while he's in between jobs that, oh God. No, I don't have to worry about that. But anyway, the Move to North Dakota Summit is going to be next month. It is absolutely free. If you want more information about how do I deal with the winners, okay, certain days I stay home. I stay home. Even if school is open, because the majority of the time, school is going to be open. In order for school to close, it has to be whiteout conditions here. It has to be whiteout conditions here. And you go in, wherever you're going, you get in, you go out. You warm your car up before you go. My husband's truck, which I drive in the wintertime, it has a heater block on the engine. When you know it's gonna get really cold, you plug the heater block in. You plug it in. Most apartment buildings and most places of work have electrical outlets on the outside for you to plug your heater block in. You plug it in, you start your car before you leave, and you just roll with it. Your kids have snow boots, hat, glove, and they just roll with it. And my children were born here, and my oldest son. the cold does not phase him. I used to always be fussing with him. Zip up your coat. Why, when I come pick you up from school, you have your coat unzipped? One day, child, it was 20 something degrees, and he had your, you maintain your income in case he decides to leave you. Well, that could happen. And I tell women that all the time. That could happen. Your husband could come home and decide he gonna act a fool, and whatever the case may be. But I'm not about to be homeless. I'm not about to be homeless. But it was 20 degrees, and my son had his coat in his hand, and I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?" But then I see other kids, the same thing. Now I do get on him and tell him, "Wear your coat, please. Wear your coat. Zip it up, because this is nonsense. I don't want you to get pneumonia." But you know when I stopped fussing at him about that? When, well, right now I don't have a reason to leave my husband, and I'm not dwelling on what could go wrong. I'm not dwelling about what could go wrong. What could go wrong. I'm dwelling on what's the best that could happen. What's the best that could happen? My parents have been married 44 years, and they still love and like each other. Okay? So I'm focusing on that. I'm focusing on what's the best that could happen. So, but when I stopped fussing at my son about zipping up his coat, not having a hat on, and all of that, because I saw my nephew one day, because my nephew goes to the same school. I pulled up, and my nephew is out there with his coat just wide open. And I'm like, y'all North Dakota kids are built different. And my nephew, he wasn't born here, but he's been here, you might as well say, his whole life. And I was like, y'all North Dakota kids just built different. You have become accustomed to the cold, and it doesn't phase you. So, and believe it or not, kids still go outside here when it's cold. Now, when it gets to a certain temperature, they do not go outside. And when my children went to private school, they didn't go outside because they had a big indoor gym. They didn't go outside. They stayed in the inside of the gym. But in the public schools, until the temperature drops to a certain degree, and I mean not 40 degrees, not 30 degrees, but until it drops to a certain degree, kids are still gonna go outside. They're still going outside. And let me tell you, my oldest son is rarely ever sick. He's rarely ever sick. So the cold does not stop us. The cold does not stop us. For the last, not this year, but prior to this year, the last 3 years, my oldest son had a pool party. Now his birthday is on December the 15th. Most people are like, you had a pool party, and it's cold. Well, it was in a hotel, and people did not mind. They came to the pool party. Of course, you dry off and whatever before you go home. But he had a pool party. That's what he wanted to have. And I'm like, a pool party? But people came. I've been out here 12 years. I've been here 12 years. I live in Minot. I live in Minot. Now, Minot is not the biggest city. The biggest city here, I believe, is Fargo. And depending on where you are in Fargo, Fargo could either be 3 hours away from Minnesota, or it could be 5 minutes from Minnesota. It could be right across the line. But I've been here 12 years, and it's not bad. It's not bad when you think of the trade off of, in 10 years, my husband can retire in 10 years or less. He possibly could be retired opposed to working till you're 65 or 70. Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it. I'm in the process of gonna homeschool my oldest son, because now the school, and don't get scared because I said I'm homeschooling my son. The schools here are very good. The schools here are very good. I like where my children go to school. Three of my sons go to the same school. My 4 year old, he goes to a different school. He goes to kindergarten readiness, and it's an all day program from 8 to 3. So he goes to a different school. But what I love about the school that my other children go to is everybody knows the Charles brothers. If my kids are marked absent, I don't get a recording telling me that your child was not at school. The office administrator calls me directly and say, "Hey, is such and such, is Emmanuel okay? He's not at school today. We're just calling to make sure he's okay." I remember once I said, well, a couple times I said, "He is at school." I dropped him off and I made sure I didn't pull off till he went in the building, because I always wait till my kids go in the building. Even though we live here and it's very safe, I used to live in the city. So, and even though my kids are young, I know how some kids are. But I watch my kids go in the building. And she says, "Okay, well, there's a substitute today. I'm going to walk down and I'll call you right back." She calls me back. "You know what? It was a mistake. He's here. Everything's all good." I didn't get a pre-recorded message telling me that they called. Now, the reason why I'm homeschooling is because my oldest son, he is having a problem with focus. And I know the teachers can't be one-on-one with him all day and keep saying, "Oh," and he's not failing or anything like that. But to get him where I feel like he needs to be, I'm homeschooling him. And then next year, my other children will transition to homeschool as well. So that way, when it is winter time and when it's cold, we can pick up and go somewhere. We don't have to wait until um, school is closed. We can just go whenever. So that's another reason why I'm transitioning into homeschool. My oldest son just turned 11. He's 11 years old. I'm not quite sure how the dating life is here. I came with a man. My husband, we were dating when we came here and then we got married. I'm not sure. I know my niece, she lives here, and she's had she's dated here. She's dated here. She's dated a guy that worked for an oil company. And I'm not saying to seek out a man that to but she dated a guy. He works for an oil company, really nice guy, has some money, was able to take her travel and able to take her traveling places where he wasn't asking her to, "Oh, uh, we got to go 50-50 and all that," which if you want to go 50-50, that's your business. That don't have nothing to do with me. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm reading the comments. Mine not now, I have to be quite honest. When I first came here, mine not has so little blacks. Now we do have a military base here, but I guess at that time a lot of people, the military personnel, did not venture off of the base. So when my husband and I first came here, the little white children used to stare at us. And I could tell that was because they never saw any black people before. It didn't bother me. Their parents used to apologize. People were very, very nice. Very nice. My husband and I, when we would go somewhere, we would see a black person, we would start counting. Okay, that's person number 5 that we see. One day we were like, you know what, this, just stop it. But now there are many, many more black people here. You see us every day. Every day. Every day you see us. You see us every day. So there are a lot more black people here now. Of course, we are still the minority, but heck, we're the minority in America anyway, unless you live in certain pockets in certain neighborhoods. But there are many more black people here. We have a lot of Africans here. I shouldn't say a lot, but we have a good bit of Africans here. Someone who is African, they came here because there is a good number of Africans here. He opened an African market which my husband and I frequent a lot because a lot of the things that they eat, my husband's family eats, because my husband's Caribbean. He's from Trinidad and Tobago. And now that his mother lives with us, there's certain things that she likes that we can't get at the regular market. When we first came here, there was not a hair store here for us. I was selling hair, but I didn't really push forward, and you know, but now there is someone who has started a store here. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of things that you can start here. Um, there's a lot of opportunity. You can come here, you can make money, and you can start a business that people are going to frequent. I remember we recently got a Popeyes here. It hasn't even been a year. We got a Popeyes here. I met the man and his wife that opened the Popeyes. And I said to him, "Are you from here? Do you live here?" He's like, "No, I'm not from here. My friend told me about this place, said he was opening a Popeyes and asked me if I wanted to go in with him." And I said, "That's very nice." I said to him, "On opening day, you're going to have miles of people. The traffic is going to be wrapped around the block." And he's like, "No, really?" I said, "Yes, really, really." On opening day, for about the first week, traffic was wrapped around the block because there was not a Popeyes here. So there is opportunity here. There's opportunity here. We do have other restaurants here, but I'm just giving an example. Recently, I think in the last 2 months, a gentleman and his sons opened a burger place. Same thing. Traffic, traffic, traffic. So there is a lot of opportunity to come and start a business here. How about Hispanics? Yes, we have Hispanic people here, Mexicans. I've met some Cubans here. We even have people from the Ukraine here. Now, not a lot of people, but not a lot of Ukrainians, but we do have Ukrainians here. So we're becoming more diverse. A couple of weeks ago, it might have been last week, I went in the grocery store and someone was behind the counter was speaking Spanish to someone on the other side of the counter. I got super excited because I'm like, yes, we're getting a little more diversity. I wasn't one of those people like, you need to be speaking English. I'm like, yeah, come on. And when I said something to the other people, they couldn't believe that I was excited because I used to live in Florida, the Miami area, a big melting pot, and I just love diversity. Asians, we have some Asians here. I don't know if they're immigrants, but we have Asian doctors here. I'm just reading through the questions. Now, Fargo is a bigger population, so there's a lot more to do in Fargo. There's a lot more to do in Fargo. Fargo is 4 hours away from where I'm at. It's 4 hours away from where I'm at. When my husband and I first came here, we used to drive to Fargo a lot just to have other things to do. Healthcare here is not bad. I've had 4 children here. I haven't had any issues. I haven't had any issues. So healthcare is really good. We have a diverse group of doctors because we have doctors who have finished their residency program and who have come here. In fact, at one of the local clinics, and when I say clinic, I don't mean clinic as in like the free clinic that you have in like major cities. It's just for whatever reason, doctor's offices here they call the clinic. But at one of the clinics here, hey, oh, I think I'm not sure how to say your name, D Ferguson. You signed up for Home Care 101. And I found out someone reached out to me and told me that the webinar does not play. And so I'm working on having that fixed. I contacted my personal assistant to have her look into it, and hopefully that will be fixed. But if you signed up for Home Care 101, I'm going to try to send you the link directly to your email. Now, if you're if you don't get it, please forgive me, because I may miss the oh, it wasn't you. Okay. I sorry, but for anyone who is watching and may have signed up and the video did not play, the webinar did not play, please forgive me. I did not know there was a problem with the link. I will send you the link directly if I find your email through my website. If not, try back again next week, and please forgive me, it was not on purpose. I did not know it was the issue, and I'm working on having it fixed. But in the meantime, I'm trying to send the link directly to individuals in their email. um oh, you're welcome, Valentina. Miss Shantae, you're giving good advice. Move if you're not growing and progressing where you are. Where you live, I would move there. I'm just concerned about the cold. I live in Georgia. It's not easy here. I used to live in Georgia. Let me tell you how God works. I lived in Florida. I lived in Florida for a short period of time when I was a kid, from like 4 to 9 years old. I moved to Delaware. I grew up in Delaware. Like a week or two after I graduated, my parents moved back to Florida. So I lived in Florida from the time I graduated in 1995 to 2008 to 2000 to 2008. And I thought Georgia was going to be all the rage, because it's supposed to be the black mecca. But Georgia was a struggle for me. It was a struggle for me. Now I know that some people in Georgia are doing extremely well, extremely well. But God had a blessing for me, and it was not in Georgia. I had to go somewhere else to get what God had and has for me. And I don't like the cold. I don't like the cold. I was like, I can live in Florida forever. Flip flops in December. That's my thing. And I used to work at American Express. And although it was a corporate job, dressed up, unless things have changed, corporate wear in Florida, well, in that area, is different from corporate wear at other places. You can wear your sandals and what have you, and nobody's gonna be like, "Oh, why are you dressed like that?" So no, I wasn't a CNA in Florida. I worked for American Express for ooh like 7 years. I worked for them, and then I was a buyer for a paper company, and then I did some other things. But I was not a CNA in Florida. I didn't become a CNA until I went to Georgia, and I never worked as a CNA in Georgia. I got my license in Georgia, but then I moved and got my in first job as a CNA in North Dakota. But I did not like the cold. But when I got to Georgia, I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be the same nice weather, because people always say it never snows. I never experienced snow there. Every year for 3 years that I was there, it snowed. I was like, somebody didn't lie. And I thought 40 degrees was freezing. I was like, oh, I am freezing. But it was God preparing me, because He knows all things. And He knew that one day I will be living here. And now it gets down to 40 degrees. 40 degrees is nothing. 40 degrees is nothing to me, because my body has gotten acclimated. So everything sounds good, but the cold can be hard on someone like myself. Oh, yeah, fibromyalgia. No, I don't know anyone here who has fibromyalgia. I do not know. And as far as finding a job, no, you won't have a problem. You won't have a problem here finding a job. How are your parents adjusting? It's very strange for older black folks to move to the extreme cold. My parents have adjusted well. So, my dad, he did not want to move here, to be honest. He did not want to move here. Now, my brother, he started having children young in his 20s. He got married in his 20s. And so, and we're 4 years apart. My older brother, we're 4 years apart. So, all of his children are grown. In fact, his oldest child, her son, her her oldest son and my second oldest son are literally only 12 hours apart from each other. We were pregnant at the same time and delivering in the hospital at the same time. So, and when people hear that, they're like, "You and your niece?" I'm like, "Well, my niece is 30 something. My niece is older." But my dad, he did not want to move here, but it was for my mother. It was like being a grandmother all over again. Being a grandmother all over again. And when I got pregnant with my first child, she was like, "Oh, I have to move." Plus, Georgia was not as good to them financially as it is now. Daycare was in desperate, people were in desperate need of daycare here. Waiting list was long. My mother had a list of daycare clients waiting for her before she got here. She's retired now and she's doing quite well. My dad and her were like, "Oh, let's move away, this and that." But when they added up the costs of, okay, if we move here, we move away, it's going to be more expensive. We can pay all of our bills here. We can travel when we want. We can buy whatever we want. Okay, I think we'll stay here a little bit longer, a little bit longer. So they have adjusted well. I've never thought of moving to North Dakota. Child, I had never thought of moving here for before either. And what's funny is some years ago, long time ago, I think it was either Chevron or Texaco had a big scandal about something to do with racism and black people or something. And in order to fix their problem, they were offering black people to get a gas station, own the gas station, run the gas station. And it was out here in the Midwest. You just had to take the train and what have you. And my mother said, "Oh, you should do it. Do it." And I was like, "I'm not moving there." Same thing that some people said, there aren't any black people out there. I'm not moving to the Midwest. Little did I know that the Midwest would be in my future. Yeah, colder than Buffalo. People say the Windy City, Chicago, but I'm like, whew, they only named that the Windy City because North Dakota is small. They don't know North Dakota, but it's not windy like that every day. It's not. It's not every day. It's not an everyday occurrence. And you get a vehicle that has four-wheel drive, and you carry on. And if you're late for work because of the snow or because of what have you, snow wise, cold wise, and you call your employer, say you're going to be late, nobody's bothering you. Your employer, they understand. You're not going to get harassed or anything like that. So if you want any more information about the Move to North Dakota Summit, again, it is going to be a no cost to attend. Turn on your notifications. Make sure you watch out for more information to come. Hopefully, I have the information posted or where you can sign up um, next week. I'm working on having that done. I was just thinking and talking out loud on Wednesday about leaving Georgia because I left New York to come here and it's just not coming together for me. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you have to not be afraid to move move to find your place. To find your place. So I guess frostbite is the no. I haven't had frostbite. My husband hasn't had frostbite. I don't know anyone who has frostbite. The thing is, in the wintertime, When you know winter is coming, you have your kit in your car. You have your blanket, water, food. So if you're driving far off and something happens, you're prepared in case your car breaks down. And probably if wherever you live where it's cold in the snow, you should do that. So you're okay until help arrives. I mean, you just, if you know it's super cold outside, why are you going outside without gloves? Don't go outside without gloves on. Make sure you have gas in your car. And you're notified way ahead of time before a storm comes, which we don't get a lot of snowstorms. It snows, but we don't have a lot of blizzards. That's not like every week, every month you're gonna get a blizzard. But when it's coming, you stock up. It's just like when I lived in Florida. Yes, they notify you when a hurricane is coming, and you get yourself prepared. You get prepared. I think an esthetician will do very well here. Very, very well here. I, as far as I have looked, here where I live, there is not a black esthetician. And I have been looking for one because I went to, we have a dermatologist here, but I went to one of the dermatologists here, and they were white, and I was not satisfied. I was not satisfied. When I traveled to Texas, I was like, I got to find somebody in Texas to do what I need to be done or what have you. I'm going to have to hop off of here in the next few minutes, you guys. Do you think? But yes, I think an esthetician will do very well here. What about being? I have now. I have not had any experience with racism, prejudice, probably, but nothing that stands out. Do I think? Well, I shouldn't say I haven't had any experience with racism, because sometimes I'm like, I think that was a little. Because in my experience, some white people, they want black people to be okay and not get government assistance and not have certain, um, to be self sufficient, but they do not want you to be and do better than that, what they are doing. Now, I do feel like sometimes, but it hasn't been to the extent of where you cannot get ahead. It's very friendly to start a business here. Um, White people are going to help you. I just have not had a problem, honestly. I haven't had that problem. My children haven't come home and said anything about having issues at school, anything like that, people talking to them crazy, because although we are having a good life here, I still talk to my children about what it is to be black in America. And I taught them that some people are not going to like you or treat you right just because the color of your skin. I teach my children that if something happens at school or somebody says something to you, you come and tell me, because I am your advocate. I am here to advocate for you. And if you do not tell me what's going on with you, I cannot advocate for you. I cannot, so to say, set people straight. No, there are not many black salons here where I live. There is not. In Bismarck, which is the closest, biggest city to me, which is an hour and a half, 2 hours away, which depends on where that depends on where you're going in Bismarck. No, no. In fact, the person who does my hair, as far as I know of, she is the only one that has a black salon here. Someone else who used to do my hair, she's been here as long as I have been, but to be quite honest, she was not as professional and did not run her business as a business. So she did not do as well. When you come here and you're starting a business, you got to run a business like a business. You can't be running a hustle. You can't be setting your prices according to what bills you have to pay that day. Set your price as your price. Be professional. Be on time. Don't have an attitude. And you're going to do very well here. Very well. Yeah, there is value in culture and convenience. I'm not saying that. But I can get culture somewhere else. It's called travel. 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 Yeah, I would recommend my city. I live in Minot. I live in Minot. MAGA is everywhere. MAGA is everywhere. And we don't have a lot of MAGA energy here. We don't have that. You'll see people fly the Trump flag and what have you, whatever. I mean, it's America. You're black in America. It's America. And the beauty of being an American and living in America is you can vote for who you want to vote for. You can vote for who you want to vote for. But we don't have a lot of like in your face, and we don't have that here. We don't have that here. Let me tell you a story about Leeds, North Dakota, and you can Google it. Some years back, I think they were neo Nazis, Aryan Nation, or something. They moved here to a little community called Leeds, North Dakota. And they thought they were going to take over the town or what have you and set up shop. There was one black person in that town, one Native American, and the rest of the community were white people. They shut that down. They said, not here. We're not having that here. You can take that somewhere else. And what did they do? They found something that the leader did so they can bring up charges against him. And who knows, he might still be in jail. But they didn't fly here. They were like, don't bring that here. We're not having that. Oh, yeah, my husband is from Port Fortin. Port Fortin. Yep, Minot is nice. We have older homes here. We have newer homes here. You can get a home here for $250,000. I'm gonna drive around some of the neighborhoods. I'll do a video driving around some of the neighborhoods. I don't know about that person that killed and shot the dog. She must have been from South Dakota because I didn't hear about that. I don't know. All right, you guys. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Stay tuned for more information about the Move to North Dakota Summit that is happening next month. Thank you guys for your support and have a great day.